It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome, welcome. It's Jill on Money, and it is Independence Day weekend. And for many of you, you've got a nice long weekend ahead. I hope you have a good one. I hope you are doing well and catching your breath and getting a little well-deserved time off. If you are focusing on your money this holiday weekend, I'm here for you. And Mark and I are doing a show. So even though we're both on vacation, we put this one in the can for you because we always like to have some stuff for you, little special stuff. This is the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. And the way that we do that is we encourage you to ask us your financial questions. To do so, go to our website, jillonmoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. A form will pop up, ask the question, and you're done. Now, if you're willing to come on the air with us, then we would love that. At the end of the form, it just says, there's a little checkbox. Would you be willing to come on the air? If you say yes, then heck, we're going to do the rest. When I say we, I mean Mark. Mark will do the rest. Today, we're starting with listener Nicole from Virginia. What brings you on the air with us today?
So we have a couple of questions about how much to put down on a new house. So we are currently looking to move back closer to my husband's job. He has about an hour commute right now, which is no fun. No. And we were recently gifted about $200K in early inheritance. So
hold on a second. I love this. I don't know who did this, but I'm very much in love with that family member. Who did this? Your parents, his parents, grandparents, who?
His parents, his father. He said, okay, I'm not going to enjoy it when I'm gone. I want to see you enjoy it now. So this will help you kind of get into the house that you want, and then I can come visit and enjoy it.
Oh, that's fantastic. So where are you living right now? In a house, in an apartment? Where are you?
We are in a house.
Mm-hmm. What's it worth?
About $475, $500 is what we're going to list it for when we sell it.
Great. And how much of a mortgage remains?
$250.
And then what are we looking for in terms of new home? Like, what do you think you're going to want? What do you want to spend?
Between $600 and $650 is what we're looking at.
Okay. So $650, I'll presume. How about that? What is your kind of game plan so far with that? To put 20% down, putting more down? Like, what's your comfort level right now?
This is kind of why we came to you. We were thinking of putting down $250 in this house. And so part of that is because we're currently living on one of our salaries and saving the other. And we want to be able to continue to do that. We weren't sure if we should put down as much as we can to keep that same mortgage payment so that we can continue to save. And both of our jobs are quite stressful. So if we did want to go back to a different job and take a pay cut, be able to do that. Or if it was more, is it more financially smart to put down just 20% and invest the rest?
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the jobs, though. So how much do you earn?
$140 a year.
And how much do you contribute to your retirement account right now?
We are maxing out our retirement account.
So you're and how old are you?
35.
Are you using a Roth or a traditional retirement plan?
Currently, we're both using traditional.
Is it a 401k for you?
Yes. Okay.
How much is in there?
Between the two of us, we have about 150.
Okay, that's good. And so your husband makes about whatever, 100,000-ish?
About 110, yes.
110, okay. What else do you have in terms of savings? Do you have any money that's in a brokerage account or old retirement accounts?
We have about 10,000 in a brokerage. We have about 70,000 just in savings in addition to that 200,000 gift. And we have about 7,000 and a 529 for our son.
Okay, got it. And you think you'll have more kids? It's a very dicey question to ask someone with an 11-month-old.
Planning for one more.
She's like, maybe.
Depends on the day.
Exactly. I guess I'm going to be blunt. Is your father-in-law some rich dude who's going to be able to pay for college for your kids, or are you going to do this yourselves?
No, this we'll do it ourselves.
Okay. So is this
He's
200 like the only 200, or do you think there's a lot? I just want to get a sense of like if there's a future inheritance or excuse me, or this is kind of like your father-in-law said, look, this is what you're going to get, so I might as well give it to you now.
That I'm not 100% sure on, to be totally honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say there's millions waiting for us, though. I will say
That's
that.
too bad. I'm very sorry about that for you. Okay. No other liability besides the mortgage. No other, like, there's no student loan floating around.
Nope, no student loans, no car payments. Everything
Great.
is paid off.
Okay. Mark Talercio, CFP,
Yes,
would you
President.
like to weigh in on this? Because I have an opinion. I'd like you to go first
I would just put 20% down.
and explain why.
First of all, the mortgage rates are so low that you're definitely going to make more money by investing the rest. I think you guys, although you're saving a lot of money right now, you still want to beef up those accounts. They still got a little bit of work to do. And if you're going to have another kid down the road, that's going to be more expenses. And it's a mortgage. Later on down the road, if you want to whack a big chunk of it off, if you think you're going to end up staying in this house, you can always do that down the road. I would just invest it.
I think I would too. Here's what I'm thinking. So right now of the 200, I mean, you're going to have a lot of money, right? Because if you sell your home, right? And let's just say, let's say you sell it for more like the 475. And let's say you take 200 grand out of your house after expenses and everything. You buy your new home and you're going to pay 650 for it. So you have this $200,000 of equity and then another 200,000 from your father-in-law. Okay. I don't know. Like if you bought a house for 650, I also presume you're going to need a slug of money to decorate it. There's more rooms, there's more stuff. So let's allocate of the 650, put down 20%, that would be your 130, but keep another 70 in reserve until you figure out like, okay, we're really done with decorating and doing the stuff. So let's just pretend we wipe out of your 400 grand, right? Because you're going to have 200 from your old house, 200 from in-law. And of that, let's say half of that is going to be going towards the new home. The other 200, what I would do is I would pre-fund this 529 plan. Mark, how much can you do in advance? Like, can't you do 5 years of gifting at once?
I think as a couple, I think you can do up to 150,000. I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do that, but I would. But it's considering there's 7 grand in there. Wouldn't it be kind of nice to just take of the 200? It would be kind of cool to be like, let's put 75 grand in there, or let's put 100 grand in there and be done. That's it. You're totally done for college for this one. And then if the other one comes along and you've got more money in this kid's account than child number 2, you can always share the funds between them, use whatever's unused, and then add the balance to whatever you don't put into the 529. So maybe let's just use round numbers, 100 grand in the 529, 100 grand in the brokerage, and you're ready to rock and roll. We'll get back to our conversation with Nicole in just a second. If you are contemplating a real estate endeavor of some sorts, let us know. We'd love to help you out. JillOnMoney.com. That is the website. Just go there, click contact us. We'll be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to answer your financial questions. And, we'll get back to our conversation with Nicole in just a second. But, I think that there are a lot of people who are contemplating moves, real estate transactions, buying, selling, but they're also looking at other parts of their lives. And maybe if you make a change in your house, maybe that's going to impact your retirement, or maybe that could actually impact the way that you save for your kids' college. everything we talk about is kind of connected. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's what happens when you start making a change in one area of your financial life. We want to make sure that you are considering the big picture. And if you need help considering that big picture, then gosh, we have a resource for you. It's us, me and Mark. We are both certified financial planners, and we do this show just to kind of help you out and give you some interesting information, hopefully some entertaining insights on your money. And, when we do that, we ask you to help us out. And we love to have you come on the air with us because it's a much more engaging program when your voices are part of the conversation, not just mine and Mark's every so often. Although I'm trying to get Mark more on the microphone. If you want to hear more of Mark, check out our other shows. Jill on Money, every so often he comes on the air for that, and I on Money, which is really where he shows his chops. He's got a great voice. Anyway, just go to the website, jillonmoney.com. You can check out our other programs. Right now, we are going to turn back to our listener, Nicole from Virginia, and talk her through the buying of a new home. Let's talk about what happens if you were to say, I don't want this high-stress job. Talk to me more about that. What would that mean in terms of income for you guys?
In the last, I would say 4 years, we've almost doubled our incomes between the two of us. We went probably about 5 years ago, we were making 100,000 combined.
Wow.
And now we're making closer to 250. And I would say, maybe a 50 to 75,000 pay cut would be in the cards if one of us were to leave our current position. So that would put us back to, around 175, 150 combined.
Yeah, but you know what? Like you could still manage this mortgage, I think, on that amount of money. I really do. I think that if you're going to do that, you really want the access to the liquid assets. So maybe what I would say in that case, if you're really considering that, if that's really like you're just killing yourselves and that's no fun. If you think that's going to happen, then I would split the money up slightly differently. I might put 50 in the 529 and keep 150 grand in a brokerage account, because that could float a lot of your near-term changes if your cash flow diminishes. If you want to put a little bit more money down just to like look at your payment options, that's fine. But I would get a 30-year fixed rate. I would get for the, no points, because this is really your home that you want to be in for a long time, right?
Yes, this is hopefully the one that we would retire in.
Okay. Don't say die in. I always feel like that's a very dramatic thing. And people say, they're going to take me out feet first. I'm like, okay, calm down there. I don't know, Mark. I feel like, let's say that income-wise, they drop down. Do you think that they can still be able to float a $400,000 mortgage, or what's the payment look like on that?
I don't think that'll be a problem, but like you said, I think that's even more reason to have it accessible in a brokerage account.
Yeah, me too. And look, you don't need to live your life to maximize your cash flow. You need to live your life and say, like, if you're completely miserable and both of you are freaked out right now, then I don't think you should stay in those jobs. I really don't. And maybe it's not for both of you, but maybe, like you said, each of you has a different choice to make. But I really think you've got to, I don't know, I think that you really need to try to give yourselves a little bit more of a good life. And you've worked really hard. You've got this equity, you've got this money that's come in from your father-in-law. I think this is a good plan. So even if think about this, if you have, how much money are you putting into that 529 plan every month?
We're putting about $200 a month right now.
And then what else are you doing? You're putting how much into the brokerage account right now?
We are saving between $2,000 and $3,000 a month.
Okay, so you're not going to have any problem. You're not going to have any problem with this mortgage. You're not. Okay, because first of all, as soon as we fund the 529 plan, you're going to stop doing monthly stuff to that. And then what I think you should try to do is build up that brokerage account and keep, you're putting your money in your 401ks, build up your brokerage account and put the 20% down on the mortgage. You will not have a problem with that. And even if you said, oh my God, we went from being able to put away $2,000 or $3,000 a month to like $1,000 a month, I don't care. That's fine. As long as you're living your life and you're happy, whenever you make that change about your retirement, you still have to put money into your 401ks. But I think you're in very good shape. I guess the only downside of this game plan is that, if you really are looking at trying to change your lives, obviously buying a bigger house is not the easiest pathway to get there. But given the extra money from your father-in-law, I think that it's quite doable. That's what I think.
The only thing I was going to mention, current retirement plans, if they have the Roth option, you probably do that.
I think I do have a Roth option, and that is something we've been considering. We were just trying to lower our take home.
Your taxable income.
Yeah.
You're going to have a big fat mortgage, right? Mm-hmm. If we look at your income together, you're in your top bracket is 24%. I wouldn't mind it I agree with Mark. Even if one of you did the Roth and one of you did traditional, I think that you would be in darn good shape tax-wise. I really do. Who knows what happens in the future? I mean, you can wait to see if your income goes down dramatically. If you do make a different choice, maybe you are in the 22% tax bracket, and that's definitely a layup when it comes to a Roth for you guys.
That's definitely something we've been thinking about, so it's good to hear.
Okay, you got wills, you got powers of attorney and healthcare proxies?
Working on it.
Oh, man. Mark, we have to have like a special sound effect for people who are, maybe there's some sort of like Jewish mother sounder, like, are you going to do your estate planning?
As soon as there was a little bit of a pause there, you knew.
Yeah, the pause. Yeah, the pause was the big tell. Nicole from Virginia, when we get off the line, the first thing you're going to do is write down on a piece of paper, 20% down. And the second thing you're going to do is call a state attorney or go online right now and do it.
Guardianship.
Guardianship, baby. Guardianship. Okay. So you're going to get on this now, Nicole?
Yes. Already written down.
All right. What about life insurance?
We do have life insurance set up.
Okay. You have term life insurance?
Yes.
All right. That was a little bit of
that wasn't very convincing.
I know. You do have it though, right? How much?
Yes. I have a 10x multiplier for mine, and my husband has a 5x.
All right. I like that. $1 million is good. That's a good thing for you. He should probably be at $1 million also, but I'll let you guys hash that one out. All right, Nicole, go forth, go do your estate planning, go buy your new house, and thank your father-in-law for all of us. Mark, do you feel good about this one? I feel like it's an interesting dilemma around putting money down and almost psychologically, I felt like she really wanted to have us say, oh no, put more money down because you have a lower payment. It's like a mental mathematics game we played with her a little bit there. Do you think we convinced her?
Probably. I mean, I know so many people want to do this, but man, you can always pay down that mortgage later on. Just see how things play out.
Yeah, exactly. The thing about having the mortgage and also having the cash, it gives you an incredible amount of flexibility. And I'm all about the flexibility always, always, always. Okay, when we return, we're going to answer more of your questions. During the break, why don't you go to JillOnMoney.com and bookmark it? And that way you can get all of the content that we create all week long. It's just that easy. JillOnMoney.com. And you'll be there constantly. Okay, we'll be right back.
Follow Jill on Twitter and Instagram for more personal finance content. Just use the handle @JillOnMoney. Now, back to the show.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Do you have a financial matter that is going on in your life? You need some help? Just give us a holler. JillOnMoney.com. Hit the contact us button. That is what John did. John is on the line from Seattle, and I think he needs a little financial therapy. What's going on? How can we help you out?
Sure. I'm 39 years old, and I just started a new career in the public sector, and I love my job. And I've just been very stressed out over the past couple of years about feeling like I'm late to the game.
Okay.
And my therapist actually suggested I reach out to someone. And I said, why not call one of the podcasts I listen to?
I
And you're my
love
favorite.
this. I love this so much. Wait a second. First of all, let's talk about your therapist. Is it a man or a woman or a non-binary therapist?
He's a male.
Okay. And you're just like, you're stressed out and that's why you went? Or did you like go through some life change?
Just general stress and
Oh.
anxiety.
All right. Well, you're with the right people because Mark and I are both stress mongers and anxious generally. We really are. Mark, I think that actually, do you consider yourself an anxious person, Mark?
People who know me, some people might say, yeah, he is. I don't really think of myself that way, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not giving myself an honest opinion.
I always say that I had no shot as like Jew from New York, that there is just a high level of stress and anxiety in my DNA that I try to fight against, but I don't really do such a great job. And I think that also, like when you're in a couple, sometimes you are able to have the other person be stressed or anxious about something that you don't have to be. So I think that, when you're single, you can take everything on yourself. And that's what I think is tough. And so we are very happy to welcome you with your stress and your anxiety. I'm glad you've brought them both. Bring all your baggage here. So what is it that's causing you this stress in your financial life? Because, I'll talk about the other stuff too, but let's do the financial stuff first.
Yeah, it's mostly, I like the stress from work. It's a fun job. So it's mostly the financial stress. I feel like I'm late to the game. And
well, tell me
that,
more about that. So what do you mean late to the game? Like what do you, first of all, you're 39 years old. Are you partnered, married, single?
Yes, I am married. My husband and I got married during the pandemic.
Oh, congratulations. Well, can we,
Thank you.
And let me ask, he is not a stress bucket, right?
No, he's just a busybody. He's a kindergarten teacher.
Oh, that's nice. I love that. So, okay. So first of all, he's a kindergarten teacher in a public school.
Yes.
All right. So how much money do you guys make together?
Together, we're making about $250 a year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. How old is he?
He is 41.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about how you live. Like, do you have a house? Do you rent? What's going on?
Yeah, we are renters. It's an expensive market in Seattle, and we're saving up to buy. Both paid off all of our credit card debt, and I also paid off my car during the pandemic because of the student loan freeze. We rent a home. We pay $2,400 a month, and
That's not bad.
save. No, it's great, and we put away $4,100 a month, and of that, we pay that $2,400. So the rest we save towards a down payment.
So you're both maxing your retirement accounts?
He gets a pension, and he also has access, or part of his retirement is also in a 457.
Okay.
I think it's at either 7 or 10%.
Okay. And you in the public sector, what do you have? Do you also have a pension?
I have what's called a 401A.
Yeah, that's a weird plan.
It is, but it seems generous. And part of what led me to reach out was we're not participating in Social Security. And at my age, I've never thought that Social Security was going to be my end-all be-all. I don't think it should be for anyone, but I wasn't sure if there's something else I should be doing with that. So with the way the 401k is set up, I'm required to contribute 10%, and my employer contributes 12% of one of the four tax. Automatically, I'm putting away 22.
That's awesome.
And I also have access to a 457B. And I am putting right now $750 a month into that, or I'm sorry, $750 per paycheck. So it'll max out by the end of the year.
You guys are saving a ton of money. What are you stressed about?
I wasn't sure if that's enough. I guess part of the stress.
Mark, am I missing something? I'm like, whoa, this is like a lot of moolah.
Well,
I'm curious. We got to hear what the current balances are.
Yeah. So tell us what have you saved so far?
Yeah, that's. It was an article I read on some financial website about by this age you should have this much.
Oh, throw that crap out. That's baloney.
And that's really where, things began to worry. But in my husband's 457, he has about 160, and then the pension. And then right now I have in a pre-tax retirement account, it's a 401k that I'm rolling over to my 457. And I have about 33,000. And then I also have a Roth IRA myself that I had from 2 years ago that has 11,000.
Okay. So I don't mean to be like snarky about this, but like, okay, so whatever, you don't have that much money saved so far, but like you do have a pension that is coming. Like, what would his future pension look like?
When we met with the pension manager, they said that at 55, he could be eligible for, I want to say 40% of his income. Because then
it goes up, right?
Then it goes up the longer he waits, as well as then he'd also have the whatever's in the 457 at that time.
Right. So, I mean, what are you guys targeting in terms of like age of retirement generally?
At least 65. We don't think we're going to have kids. So we like that we have a good quality of life right now. We don't live an extravagant lifestyle, but we can travel if we want. So that's kind of what we'd like to do.
We'll get back to John in just a second. If your finances are stressing you out, we're here for you. We can help relieve that stress. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we'll walk you through what's going on. Doesn't matter where you start, from zero or gazillions, we don't care. Okay, we'll be right back.
If you've missed any part of a show or want to check out a past show, go to JillOnMoney.com for more great personal finance content.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and this is the program that attempts to try to help you take the next best financial step for you, not for anyone else, for you. And the way that we help you do that is we ask you to send us your financial questions. It does not mean that you have to come on the air with us, but we really do like it better when you come on the air because we can uncover some stuff and maybe we can help you out. It's really something that is helpful to everyone in the community of Jill on Money, but also it makes the experience richer for you. I think when you hear us talk to you directly, it's a little bit more engaging, and we might uncover other parts of your financial life that you're overlooking. Maybe you're doing things better than you actually imagined. So check in with us, JillOnMoney.com. The Contact Us button is right there. Let's get back to John from Seattle. So you don't have a ton of money saved, but you are cranking right now. I mean, cranking, I think. And I'm not sure there's much more for you to do. Do you have any other debt that's outstanding, like school loans or anything like that? Because you said you paid off credit card and your car debt, and you said that was during the student loan freeze. So yes. I presume there's some student loans out there.
Yes, I have from grad school. I have a big student loan. It's a consolidated federal student loan of about just over $275.
Whoa, that's a big number.
Yes.
So, but you said you're now in the public sector as of when?
As of July.
So now the clock starts ticking for 10 years?
No. My first job a couple of years ago was in the public sector, and I have 2.5 years. So it's actually 7.5 years away from forgiveness.
That's fantastic. Okay, so let's just take a big deep breath. Mark, would you like to talk John through his stress and anxiety and tell him that he's going to be okay?
He is going to be okay. Yeah, maybe you feel like you're behind the eight ball a little bit, but right now you're doing exactly what you should be doing.
There's really almost nothing I could suggest that would enhance this, except I would like to wave my magic Auntie Jill wand. Mark, do you have your wand ready? You ready?
I'm waving. Yeah.
I'm waving it also. I'm waving. And I want you to try to understand that you got to where you got to for a variety of reasons. You were late, whatever. There is nothing more you could possibly do. You have developed awesome habits. Now, I don't really care if you were a complete screw up for your 20s and your 30s, but, like, honestly, as you approach your 40th birthday, you should know, like, I don't need to feel stress and anxiety. I used to feel that. It's like almost like an old feeling. Like, when you were like, you were screwing around and you did all your stuff and, blah, blah, blah. But you knew that there was something like you weren't doing right. You've now corrected that completely. Yeah. There's nothing more you can do. And just tell me, how much do you have in that emergency reserve fund?
We each have our own separate emergency funds with a little over $18,000 apiece, which covers just over 4 months of expenses. And we will continue. I still contribute $400 a month to that already. So I just kind of turbocharge that with the student loan freeze.
Okay, that's great. I mean, I'd like you to have 6 months in there at least, which I think you'll get to pretty easily. I really do.
How much is in that house fund?
Right now we have just under $35,000.
That's fine. Do you really need to buy a house? I don't know. Like, you're gonna what would be the house that you would buy
for something that's equivalent to what we have right now? Probably close to $800.
Oh my God, that's nuts. I mean, you got to be a happy renter in that. Yeah. If that's the choice, you actually do have $35,000 of like extra money, which is, I presume, in like some sort of money market or savings account, right?
A high yield savings account online.
Perfect. Leave it there. You can call it a house fund. I'm just I'm happy that you have a 6 month reserve. There is no way that it makes sense for you guys to pay $800,000, which, you'd have to have like a significant down payment. The cost, they're just like, your rent isn't that expensive. It just isn't. And you're happy where you are?
We are.
Even if it were $3,000 a month, at what point, Mark, do you think that like the buy versus rent tips in one way or the other?
I don't see it for quite a while.
Me neither. I don't see that. I really don't. And like this whole thing about like, the dream of home ownership, it's a pain.
Okay, so right now they're saving $1,700 a month towards that house fund. What do you want to do with that $1,700?
I think what I want to do is, does your husband have, let me just see something. They make $250 together, so there's no more Roth IRA. I feel like I just want them to have a brokerage account. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, that's where I was leaning.
I think a brokerage account. I think that, you have to talk about this with your husband. Because, here we are making life decisions for you guys, which we're happy to do. But what I think would be really helpful is if you're on the same page, I think what would be nice would be to start creating a brokerage account and have that money sit in there, grow, and then maybe that's sort of a supplemental retirement fund. And if in 5 or 8 years or something's going on, or you're done with your student loans and all of a sudden there's this great house that comes up, we have the money that's available. But I would just basically open a Vanguard account, Fidelity account, a Schwab account, something super boring. And I would start getting that money rolling. Okay, we'll get back to John in Seattle and finish up with him in just a second. During the break, go to the website, JillOnMoney.com, and there you can sign up for our free weekly newsletter. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to walk with you as you navigate your financial journey. And one thing to keep in mind is that we all have different journeys. We all have different things going on in our lives. And I don't want you to freak out when you hear someone who's doing really well or someone who's not doing well. It's about you, what's going on for you. And if that's where you stand, if you need some help just in your situation, why don't you give us a holler? JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. Let's wrap up our conversation with John from Seattle and hopefully give him some peace of mind before we let him off the hook for the day. Is that house fund 50-50? You split it 50% each?
Yes.
I mean, if you want, you can either have that be a house fund as in like you can have a joint account for you guys, or if you have very different risk profiles, you can split it up and create your own investment accounts. But get a couple index funds in there and start the process, and don't look at it and don't make yourself crazy, and then put that money in every single month. I think you're going to be really happy.
Okay. You wouldn't suggest trying to do a backdoor Roth?
I think that the retirement, I would rather you have non-retirement assets because you're going to be very retirement heavy.
Okay.
And listen, the brokerage account is a great deal for you guys. Yeah. You are in a state that does not levy state income taxes. So, you are in the 24% tax bracket together. That's perfect. I don't mind paying the tax on that.
And take a deep breath. You're in good shape. You're doing what you should be doing at this point.
Fire your therapist. You're done. You're going to just save so much money right now. Don't tell your therapist we said that. Go to therapy if you'd like. We love therapy. Okay, that was John from Seattle. If you'd like to come on the air with us, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button, and we will bring you aboard. And it's much better to do it live with us. It's so much more fun. Okay, Jill on Money, a whole nother hour awaits you. If you've got a question, JillOnMoney.com is where you'll find answers. We'll be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's hour number 2 of Jill on Money, and it is Independence Day weekend. And of course, we want you to honor Independence Day. Certainly means a lot as everything we've gone through in the last couple of years and what's going on in the world. But we also wonder if this might not be your financial Independence Day weekend. Do you need some help trying to figure out where to go next, how to take the next step that's right for you? If that's the case, well, we are so lucky because we have each other. We have the Jill on Money community. And you can become part of that community first by going to our website, JillOnMoney.com. Next, bookmark that website, and you can check out all the great content that we create all week long. And most importantly, there is a Contact Us button that's in the upper right-hand corner, wherever you are on the website, and that will allow you to ask your financial question. Right now, we are going to talk to Matthew from Alabama. All of us are a little tie-tie from the week. How are you feeling today?
So off of work early and going to the beach for the weekend for my anniversary. So I'm actually awesome today.
Oh, look at you. What number anniversary?
So it's only the first anniversary, but high school sweethearts, we dated for 13 years before we got married. So,
Oh my God. Wait a second. High school sweethearts. Mm-hmm. Now, let's talk about this for a second. So are you the same age?
Yeah, we're both 27.
So you met in high school, in what grade?
We were freshmen when we started talking, and then we started so-called dating in sophomore year. So
I feel like dating in Alabama is a much bigger commitment than dating in New York. I don't know why. Is there more sort of sort of declaring my love for you so early? I mean,
it might have been. I mean, we couldn't drive at the time, so we even had to get parents or siblings to drive us around and stuff. So, maybe so.
I can't believe it. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law, high school sweethearts. Mm. And, it's a beautiful thing. If it works, man. No looking back for you, baby. You're on it. So what's going on? 27 years old, married for a year, but really 13 years. What's up?
So we'll get to the numbers, I guess, after. The question is, are we too young to take our foot off the gas and kind of I'm crazy about money, so stop being crazy about money and maybe even start working a little bit less. My wife actually started going part-time this week. So I'm looking to do the same thing, but you tell me if I'm crazy, basically.
Wait a second. What does she do that she's going part-time?
She's a nurse, so, the past 2 years have been pretty awful for it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That sucks. So as a part-time nurse, what does she earn now?
Right under $30 an hour. It'll be around 36,000 gross, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And will she get benefits through you?
No, she actually is still allowed to have benefits. She can still go to her 401k. She's going to do the 6% to get the 3% match. So it's not going to be a lot of money, but she does have benefits. So.
All right. Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And how much money is in her retirement plan already?
She has $66,500 in her 401k.
Okay. What do you do?
So I changed jobs about 3 months ago. I am actually a paraplanner for a financial planning firm here.
That's so good. Are you going to get your CFP?
I am. Yes, I am. That is
Well,
the
then how
goal.
are you going to slow down?
Well, so that's the thing. I enjoy what I do, but I also enjoy doing other things. Like when I used to work from home, so I was able to learn Spanish for a year and a half, play guitar more, be healthier, work out more. So mine's more of like a lifestyle shift rather than kind of work less, but basically to see if we financially can do that, I guess.
How much do you earn as a paraplanner?
So 52,000, but we do have the option when our firm does well, we can get a little bonus. It's a very small firm, so it's very close knit, kind of like a little family almost.
And do you have a 401k?
So we have a simple IRA, and I just got eligible because like I said, I'm new. So it's just
good.
They put in 3% regardless, and I'm going to do 3% just to kind of match it. But
okay. You guys are just married a year. Are you planning on having children?
A couple years down the road, we just got our first fur baby, and we're going to let her kind of, take that role for right now. So.
All right. Where do you live? In a rental or do you own?
We own a duplex. We live in one side and rent out the other. So,
all right. How much is the duplex worth?
$368,000.
368. Come on, I'm putting 370. I'm not doing any eights here. Okay. What kind of mortgage?
FHA since we moved in, and it's at 338.
FHA, did you put a smaller amount down?
Yeah, we did. We only put the 3.5% down because I love to be cash heavy and kind of be liquid. So I wanted to make sure. So we also just bought a condo when we closed on Wednesday on a condo that we're going to rent out. So.
Wow. Okay, wait. So let's just talk a little bit. The duplex, the rental, the other half, how much money does that bring in?
So after property management fees, $1,450.
Property management, what about like other stuff? Like, in other words, are there other costs associated that will pull that number down from $1,450 to something smaller?
Unless something breaks in a month, no. And the building's only 3 years old. We've been very blessed with no maintenance, that kind of thing so far. So we don't have any other, the tenants pay electric, the tenants pay the water and all that kind of stuff. So.
Okay. So does that $1,450 cover your mortgage payment?
Our mortgage is $1,900, so we're paying a very small amount to live in a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2,000 square foot home.
Fantastic. That's great. Okay. Obviously, that's part of the reason that your wife could kind of pull back a bit, right? Tell us about the condo. How much did you pay for it?
So $200,000, appraised for $205. Who cares? And so the mortgage on mortgage plus HOA is gonna be around $1,200 a month. And we should be able to rent it for $1,700 to $1,750. So that
Ooh, what's the mortgage outstanding balance for this? What did you get?
$170.
So $1,200 a month. You should be able to net, let's say, $500 a month is what you're saying. Okay.
Correct.
Good. Perfect. Now, you worked somewhere else and you have a simple IRA now. What about an old retirement plan? Anything in there?
So $4,500 in a deferred comp that I'm probably going to leave because it's a decent plan, and then $14,000 in a pension that I'm going to roll over to a traditional IRA soon.
Okay, got it. Anything else? So you said you like having cash. So tell me about like what's in your non-retirement assets.
All right. Well, so we also have $50,000 in Roth IRAs, but then we have $30,000 in a brokerage account and only $20,000 in cash right now because we just bought the condo. So it's a little lower than I'd like, but it's still okay.
So what you would plan to do is with the net from the condo and just sort of where you are in your lives, you're going to build up that cash up to how much do you think you like what's your comfort level and what is your real run rate? What do you need every month to live on?
So my wife and I are not very, needy. With our mortgage and all being covered, we spend $2,500 a month. So I would like around $30,000, which would give us a year of runway with cash.
Great. Okay, that sounds awesome. So you feel comfortable about your wife pulling back to 36 grand a year, obviously, right?
I do.
Is that a temporary move, or you think that's permanent?
I kind of think it's going to be permanent. We'll see. We'll see if she and she's open to doing other work part-time to make a little money. She needs some time to step back and have less hours at the hospital.
We'll get back to Matthew in just a second. Are you interested in financial independence? Maybe not retire early, maybe next endeavor, whatever. Give us a holler. JillOnMoney.com. We'll be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to answer your financial questions. Every single week, Mark does an incredible job putting together our weekly newsletter. It is free. It comes out every Friday, so it's kind of good. It's like a way to get prepped for the weekend show. And if you would like to receive a copy of the free weekly newsletter, all you need to do is sign up for it. Just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and there you'll see a little thing. You want our newsletter? Boom, done. Easy peasy. He'll make it all happen. Also, while you're on the website, you can check out some of the blogs that I've written and maybe some of my TV appearances. And don't forget to check out the resources section. A lot of those resources we mentioned throughout the program. Okay, so we were talking to Matthew from Alabama, who is pursuing the FIRE movement. Let's get back to Matthew right now.
The way I see it, so because I do the financial planning, I like to run time value of money calculations. We have over $150,000 invested. That could easily be between $1 or $5 million by the time we're 60 if we don't put another dime in. But on the other hand,
what are you assuming for a rate of return on that?
I go between 6% to 10% and just,
keep it at 6.
I would say exactly. Let's say 6. And what are you using for an inflation rate?
Typically 2. I mean, I know it's been crazy lately, but
do me a favor. Run this analysis at 6% return and 2.5% inflation.
That's not too conservative. I mean,
what do you mean? You are built for being conservative.
You're right. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like a guy who likes to have cash, you want to be conservative. And then you can work backwards. What's the worst thing that happens? Oh, you're 40 years old. You're like, oh, damn it, I have more money than I expected. That's terrible. There's a couple of things that go through my mind. Yeah, sure. You could live a different life. I am very clear that if you choose the path of being a certified financial planner, that it's going to suck for a few years. It is. Like, it's hard work. Tell me more about, do you think if you got your CFP, would you still want to be sort of behind the scenes, or do you want to be the kind of person who goes out and gets the money and brings it into, or goes out and gets the clients?
So I am not the person who gets the clients. So that's my thing. I enjoy the numbers. I enjoy behind the scenes. I don't think, the way our firm's set up, obviously, if you become an associate financial advisor or a full-time, the head advisor, you're going to make more money based off of, compensation type. But I like the numbers. I like doing the plans in the back. I don't see myself trying to go get clients and really trying to bring money in. So
the reason I asked that was that if you're the guy who goes out and is the business development person, then I think you're working really hard for 10 years to build up a practice.
Right.
If you're comfortable saying, I want to be the person behind the scenes, so maybe you make 50 today, but you get your CFP, you become more valuable, the partners love you, and then maybe you're making 80, 90, 100. Then I think you can actually have some more flexibility. I don't know at this firm, but I do believe that if you're not client facing and you're doing the work, I'm not sure why you would necessarily have to be in an office. And if you like that balance, maybe that's something you shop yourself around for. Like, hey, you know what? I'd love to work in a different place. For all I know, you could, do back office CFP work for someone in New York. Is there any reason why you would have to actually be in the physical office besides the fact that you're in a place where everyone's in the office?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's for sure. I mean, the possibility to work from home is there. And that is a possibility. Like I said, I guess my main concern is just I don't want to have to make money, I guess. I like my wife and I keeping low expenses. I like us having cash. She's going to bring home enough money to almost cover our expenses working part-time. Mm-hmm. And so I don't like feeling like when I go to work, I feel like I'm almost in prison because I have to
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Well, no, it's not so it's just my mindset in general, right? If you have to ask somebody's permission to take off work because they're your boss, that's normal. But to me, that's not normal.
Mark, I don't know what to say about this.
It's clear he needs to be his own boss. He needs to, if he wants to be a CFP, then he needs to somehow figure out a way to set up his own shop.
Or maybe what you do is you say to a firm or a few firms, I'll do your back office para planning and be almost like a consultant. Basically begin a practice where you're using your services and you're becoming a person who does stuff in the background. In other words, there's a lot of people who would want an extra set of hands. Maybe you're particularly busy, or maybe there would be a possibility of doing that. But I think if you're going to, if you want the stability of the firm, and you seem to you like the firm, right? You seem to like they're nice people.
Great human beings. Everybody's close knit. Yeah, they are fantastic. I'll say that.
I don't want you to give it up. I feel like you're young to have this conversation. Let's just sort of talk generally speaking. Mm-hmm. You guys you're putting in, your wife's putting in 6%. She gets her 3% match. You're putting in 3% into the simple and the 3% match. And are you both maxing out Roth IRAs?
Yeah. So the goal really, for me going forward, my financial goal in general is max out a Roth IRA until we're 60 or 65 and right off into the sunset kind of thing.
I mean, you'll probably be able to do it with these low expenses. I tell you what I wouldn't do. I know that the duplex works great, the condo works great, but I wouldn't necessarily go out and buy 5 more properties. I would try to focus on whether or not you want to get the CFP. Where are you going to land professionally? Is it that you start your own practice? Is it that you want to be able to be in this company and really provide service to them? Do you have some other way to, make some money? Is it that, you do this for 8 years and maybe you do start saying, hey, I've accumulated some money. I'm going to buy some more rental properties. And that becomes your full-time gig. But I think you're on track to basically write your own plan. However, I would be remiss if I didn't sound like Auntie Jill saying there's a lot to learn from being part of a nice practice with nice people. And it might enrich you. I think the message that I want to leave you with is this. You're on the path. You get to sort of decide where you go next. It may be that you love this flexibility, but you have to really think about what is it that's going to motivate me? I'm going to have some kids. We're going to have a life. I just would be worried that things are going to change so much in the next 5, 10, 15 years that I want you to relieve yourself of any sort of anxiety around money and also know that the path could twist and turn and it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to stick to a plan is like a living, breathing document, as you know, right? Because you do it. Yeah. It's a snapshot. Your snapshot today is this tiny little moment in time. And it is a very lovely picture that you have. It is really great. You and your wife have done a great job. It's just now you need to really start to think about, well, post-COVID, what is it that we really think we want our lives to look like? And that's something you can talk about together. But I like that she's working part-time. I think trying to not make huge decisions in this moment, but just give yourself options in the future that will probably give you a lot of solace. That will make you feel better.
I agree. I appreciate your advice and your help. I get into my own head when it comes to numbers because I'm sitting there running calculations all day long, wondering, thinking about everything. And my wife keeps me on track. She helps me actually enjoy life a little bit. So,
Thank God for her.
Really? Gosh. I mean, anyway, I think you are in good shape. Presumably because you are a planner, you have your estate documents done?
So,
Oh, Mark.
so my firm, actually, we have a lot of, people we work with, obviously. So my goal is to get in with them very soon, but haven't been able to, get there yet. So,
All right, let's get going. Okay, not everyone is going to be as focused as Matthew, but maybe we can help you out anyway. If you've got a financial question, just go to our website, jillonmoney.com. We will be right back with more of your questions.
Follow Jill on Twitter and Instagram for more personal finance content. Just use the handle @JillOnMoney. Now, back to the show.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are answering financial questions like nobody's business, despite the fact that it's a long holiday weekend for many of us. We do that. It's very sneaky. We're able to sneak in, put stuff in the can, and do that. Do you need more of us? Well, check out our other broadcasts. We've got a fantastic podcast called Jill on Money, just like this radio show, and it comes out daily, every single day. And we also have the Eye on Money podcast that comes out twice a week. So you may want to check those out. Again, all of our content lives on the jillonmoney.com website. Okay? So just bookmark it. It'll be easier. Right now, we are going to talk to Heather from Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Heather. How are you?
Hi, Jill. I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. What's going on for you?
We've been trying to think about investing further in some rental opportunities, but I just wanted to get a feeling for where we're at and if that's the right move for us right now.
Okay, so tell us about the we. Who's the we? Is there a spouse?
Yes, my husband and I, we're both 36.
And what do you guys do for a living?
So my husband is in, it's an IT merchandising situation for a big retailer. He's working right now. I, unfortunately, was laid off due to COVID last October, and I opted to stay home with our kids based on schools closing and being a little bit unreliable. I've taken a step out for the time being.
How's that feel? Because you've probably been working for 10, 15 years. So how does it feel?
I have been. It's odd. I'm loving the time with the kids. However, I got my real estate license during the time that I've been out, and I've just got the itch to kind of have something to do. And that's where the rental part is sparking.
Got it. How old are your kids?
I've got a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
Girl, Mark. By the way, Mark complains about how hard it is to have one 2.5-year-old. That's what he is. He has one child who's 2.5, and he complains like you cannot believe. So how much does your husband earn?
So his salary is $155, but where we really pick up is in bonuses and employee stock incentives.
Typical year. Don't give me like a strange COVID year, but like a typical year. What is it bonus?
So he's bonusing about $60,000 a year, and in stock grants, $40,000 a year. But by the time those typically vest, they're on a 2-year vesting schedule. Those usually work out to be about $75,000. So we're vesting about $75K or more every year.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. Tell us about his retirement plan options.
We just switched him into full Roth 401k. They just offered that this year. He's got two traditional ones. We need to roll one over. But between the two traditional, he's got 215 in one, 85 in another. I have a rollover IRA of 131. And then we've got 8 in his Roth 401k that we just started.
Great. Anything else? Like, do you have some stuff started for the kids, for college? What do you got going?
So we have another post-tax stock account with 25,000 in there. I've got some stocks that I just kind of wanted to buy. That's sitting there. And then the kids each have a 529. In total, we're at about 54,000 in there, more heavily loaded on the 7-year-old. We're aiming to at least hit probably about 80 grand in each kid for college.
You want to pay for a public or a private, do you think?
I think public. We have really good in-state tuition options. 80 should more than cover that as long as they have good grades.
So here you are. You've got a bunch of money saved, which is great.
Other stuff going on too. I want to add in there.
Tell me.
That's what we have that's vested and sitting there. But then we also have an E-Trade account for the stock grants that keep coming. Mm-hmm. So right now there's 130 liquid that's vested and ready to go. We have another 250 that's non-vested that'll be vesting in the next couple of years. 110 of that is vesting in April. And it keeps coming because 110 vests in April, but we get another 40 granted. And we're also doing the employee stock purchase plan. So we're buying $24,000 a year in that.
Why do you do that?
Because it's the 15% discount. And
what if the stock goes down?
Yeah, and that's a factor for sure. But our goal is not to be leveraged heavily on this company. We have been selling off to do things periodically, but it's getting to the point where now with all these incentives that it's getting to be like, what do we do with this? We need to really start moving it.
You try to take money off the table when you can.
Right.
So, for example, in that $130,000 that's liquid, let's take that money. Let's pop that into your 529 plans and get everything. Let's top this off. You'll be done.
The problem with it is it's heavily taxed.
So
There's
what?
A gain to it.
So?
Yeah.
What's wrong? Like, what, are you going to wait till tax rates go up?
I don't know. It's just, it's like ripping the Band-Aid off. I feel like these past few years, it's been high earning years. And it's just like, I hate taking even more taxes.
Can I out you about your former profession?
I know. Yeah, you can.
Okay. So let me just out Heather. She's a CPA. So now what you're supposed to say to me is, of course I know I have to pay those taxes.
Yeah, I know I do. I know.
I know you don't want to.
I don't.
Wait a second. So let's just look at this, though. I think that what I'm guessing one of the reasons you don't want to do this is because even though you're in the 15% capital gains rate,
we're getting the additional tax.
You're going to get, right? You're going to do the 3.8% Medicare surtax? Right. Okay. Yeah. But honest to God, 18.8%. So what? It's cheaper than your highest ordinary tax bracket. And why should we presume that 15 is going to be your bracket forever? I mean, you could start making more money and then all of a sudden you'll be in the 23.8%.
Well, that was part of the factor of me not going back to work. It was just a matter of when I was working, it was almost between the tax impact of it and then childcare. That it was just ridiculous.
We'll get back to Heather in just a moment. If you've got a financial question and you want to know how to rebalance out of company stock or anything else that's on your mind, just give us a jingle. What does that mean? It means go to our website, jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we will get your note.
If you've missed any part of a show or want to check out a past show, go to jillonmoney.com for more great personal finance content.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, the program that attempts to take the mystery out of your financial life and maybe convince you that having too much of your money tied up in one particular asset or asset class is not necessarily the best course of action. We are talking to Heather from Charlotte. She's got a bunch of company stock, but many of you will contact us about this and you feel reluctant to sell your company stock or any asset that seems sort of near and dear to you. I want to help you get over that feeling, whether it's stock that you inherited or maybe just feeling like you want to avoid a certain asset class. Let's try to avoid putting yourself in a difficult situation. And one way to do that is to create a more diversified portfolio. So if you find yourself in that situation, well, we can help you out. All right, let's get back to Heather. How much were you making?
I was making 100.
All right, here's what I'm going to say. Mark, are you with me in taking some money and paying the 18.8%?
Yes, 100%.
100% is right. Mark is as wise as I am, because I'm going to just lecture you the way you would lecture me as a CPA, which is, are you a donkey? There's two things that can happen that can hurt you. Number one, you will lose dollar for dollar if the stock goes down.
Sure.
And number two, rates could go up. So
Right.
Why are we not taking the money off the table?
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you about this real estate then. Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Our primary residence wasn't going to touch anything with that. We are staying, we just moved recently. We've got a $270,000 mortgage on the property, probably about $750,000. So that one's just kind of let it ride. We have also a rental, and it's an Airbnb. And that one, the value of it's about $230,000. And I have a $23,000 mortgage on it.
That's it?
That's it. So I was going to pay that off. And I kind of did something silly a few years ago. I put a big chunk of money on the mortgage on that property when I was trying to figure out similar situation, what to do with this money, right? Mm-hmm. So I paid it down. And then I'm like, why am I doing that? Because that's actually tax deduction.
Right, exactly.
So I'm actually in the process, I just started it this week, of refinancing that mortgage, so I can get the tax deduction again. Mm-hmm. So I'm also going to be pulling out about $100,000 on that property and having roughly $130,000 mortgage on it. So I'm going to have about $100,000 liquid right there that I'd like to maybe buy some more properties with.
Mm-hmm. You don't have a ton of money in retirement savings right now. However, essentially you're going to save a lot of, I think that this brokerage account, between the E-Trade account, the brokerage account, all that part of it, I think you're going to start racking up big money.
Right.
So I think I have just given what you've said, you don't have huge expenses. I think that the first thing I would do is I would take the $130,000 of stock rents that's liquid. I would bang it out, and I would fully fund the 529 plans and be done, like absolutely be done. It is always harder than you think in the very beginning. So do one at a time. And if something were to come up where you're like, oh my God, I have to do both, or it's like two places next door. But I can tell already as a CPA, you have a certain mindset, which is scorch the earth, run the numbers, make the due diligence like a huge part of what you do, which is great. You are going to really be hyper saving as long as you are diligent about selling the stock and reinvesting it and diversifying. And I think that the other aspect is you want to work. You want to have something to do. You'll be able to do this with control. You're the CEO and CFO of the household. And also you will be able to create a really, I think, a nice business opportunity for yourself. And I think that you raise a really great issue for everyone else listening. Rental property works better when it's leveraged, when you actually are borrowing money to make it work. That means that you have less money that's on the table. Your return on your investment will be higher, presuming things go up. And I think that you're also smart enough to realize that in managing these properties, you have to really pay attention to the record keeping and the management. I like that you moved to the Roth for your husband. I love that you're saving a lot of money. I just want to be clear that, I'm going to say one last time, and that is that please, please, please be disciplined. Pretend you are your client. Whenever you give advice to somebody, and you usually give the advice that's like the fiduciary response, you give them the advice that's in their best interest, right?
Right.
You would never let somebody have a bunch of money that is available and have it sit out there at risk simply for a tax purpose. That's just not a smart thing.
Yeah. No, you're right. It just started piling in faster than anticipated. They just kept upping the incentives and it's just,
How dare they?
Do you guys have your estate documents done?
we do. We did.
And life insurance? You got some life insurance?
Yeah, I think I need to up that a little bit. We're only at 500K.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
young and you're healthy, so I'd have $1 million for sure. And the last question is, do you feel comfortable managing all this yourself? In other words, you've got an account with a stock grant. E-Trade is now owned by Morgan Stanley. Someone at Morgan Stanley is going to like knock on your door and say like, hey, we could give you advice, but can you do this yourself?
Yeah, I feel confident doing it
Good.
myself at this point.
Great. Perfect. Then do it. Okay, one more segment before the end of the program. Don't forget, JillOnMoney.com. That is your key to everything content related. Okay, JillOnMoney.com is our website. Check it out, bookmark it, and don't forget, free weekly newsletter. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And before we finish up for the day, how about a question from one of you? All you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we'll get your note. Jonathan writes, I'm going through a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Sorry, Jonathan. He writes, I had $30,000 in credit card bills that were discharged. I'm 35 years old. I live in the Seattle-Tacoma area, and I'm single with no kids. I've got no savings, and I don't own anything. I do have a 401k from a previous job. It's got $20,000 in it, and I just started a new job, and I want to start saving and maybe investing. Where do I start? Well, Jonathan, I think the first thing to do is, now that you've got that credit cleared up, you really have to establish good spending habits. That means tracking everything that comes in and everything that goes out. Next, you need an emergency reserve fund, some 6 to 12 months of your living expenses in a safe place. And then you can start putting money into that new retirement account. Maybe you take the old 401k and just transfer it into the new plan, and then make it automatic. Start using the 401k at least up to the match while you're saving that emergency reserve fund. It's not going to be easy. You've been through a lot, Jonathan, so we understand that. But what is clear is that your habits have to change this time around. We just don't want you ending up in the same place where you were that got you into that debt and forced this bankruptcy. So lots of care, lots of thinking about the way to move forward. All right? I hope that helps. Okay, if you would like help with your next best steps, go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, we'll get your note. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer, and we encourage you to put your hands metaphorically on someone's back. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.